Welcome back to the last module for Apply Customer Service and Ethics. Today we're going to be looking at how to apply basic business ethics in a work environment, and here are your module outcomes. Firstly, how we reflect on our own values and belief systems and how they actually influence our behavior. Also, we're going to see how we discuss an individual's ethics which impact on the people around them. Also explain how an individual can actually behave ethically in a business context. And then lastly, how to demonstrate techniques for dealing with situations where our own values and ethics will conflict with working practice. All right, so how do we apply basic business ethics in a working environment? Values are principles, standards, or qualities that an individual group of people hold in high regard. These values guide the way we live our lives and also the decisions that we actually make. Values can influence many of the judgments that we make, as well as have an impact on the support that we actually give to our clients. It's important that we do not influence clients' decisions based on our own values. We should always work from the basis supporting the client's values. So ethical behavior includes honoring one's working hours, being absent from work, bribes, gifts, disclosing a second job, conflict of any interest, disclosures of a client, confidential information, and how they actually relate to ethical business practices. So, what is a work ethic? It's an attempt to basically do business, but in a fair and a just way. It is the willingness of an individual to actually work for their own benefit as well as the benefit of the business. Values are collective standards whereby right and wrong, good and bad, pretty and ugly are actually separated. The belief system is taken together your ethics and the values which will form your belief system. Ethics are what you as a person believe, and the values are what the group believes is right and wrong. And because you are part of that group, it also is the belief in your values. The main source of values and belief systems are the people around you, for example, your parents, your family, your peers, and co-workers. The environment also that you grew up also plays a very important role. It is unethical to steal something from someone, but it wouldn't be a very strong notion if you weren't taught that it is wrong when growing up. Your own ethical behavior are the standards that you hold for yourself of the attributes of honesty, responsibility, and how you treat others in all facets of your life. The same standards are applicable to whatever position you hold in your business, in your community, and even behind your own doors, where only you know what you do. Identifying the ways in which an individual may change their belief or value system. Firstly, number one, make a decision about what is that you actually do want to change. Then apply that decision that you've made. Keep implementing your belief for the rest of your life. Please complete class activity 5 in your workbook. Now, discuss how an individual's ethics impact on the people around them. An individual's business ethics is the application of discipline, principles, and theories of ethics to the organizational context. The individual's behavior is either ethical or unethical, but also include honoring one's working hours, absence from work, bribes, and gifts. Bad ethics aren't the only ones that will impact on people around you. Good ethics can also make a huge difference in a workplace. If you're someone who works hard or isn't late for work, doesn't spread gossip, doesn't steal time or anything else, the people around you will look at you as an example, and your good ethics will filter through to them. They would like to be with you and also to work with you. Another aspect of language and personal ethics is the way we use language. Due to the cultural and language differences in South Africa, misunderstandings often occur. We have to be aware of different cultures, ethics, and languages all the time when we communicate. Rather than taking offense at what someone has said, investigate the matter and you'll probably find that the intention was something totally different. The importance of confidentiality. In any office environment, certain information documents are confidential and must not be shared with any unauthorized person. These can be broadly classified into the following categories: your personal information and documentation, client information and documentation, business or organizational matters. Identify ways in which an individual can influence the behavior of others. If you behave professionally and ethically, especially if you're a senior, then it is possible to influence your subordinates to act as such and vice versa. As a role model to employees in the business, conduct yourself as follows any influence the behavior of others. Firstly, demonstrate honesty in all your business dealings. Ensure confidentiality of all information in your possession. Ensure you adhere to your code of ethics. When you behave ethically within your organization, staff behavior and practices will reflect the values of the organization. The stated values of the organization are also respect, fairness, but also excellence. Please complete class activity 6 in your workbooks. Now, let's explain how an individual can behave ethically, but in a business context. There are many forms of irresponsible work ethics, like not doing your work with the utmost care and skill, or being absent at work for parties while submitting fake sick notes, surfing the internet for personal enjoyment during working hours, or taking stationery home, and generally incompetence. All those aforementioned activities are both unethical but also unprofessional. Morality comprises of rules of conduct about what we ought and ought not to do. It also encompasses expectations of character, that is, what sorts of persons we should strive to be. From an ethical perspective, then, public policy has to ask not only what the rules of conduct should be, but how society should actually act. Adherence to company policy confidentiality in terms of ethical conduct. Company policy and confidentiality must be adhered to at all times. As an employee, you have to know what the company policy is regarding confidentiality, but also ethical behavior. Most organizations would provide their employees with a company code of conduct to guide employees through ethical behavior. Discussing ethical ways of receiving but also giving gifts in favours in business context. A gift in the workplace is quite sensitive. It is something hard to know when a gift is appropriate and when not. Here are some guidelines for when it is safe to assume receiving or giving a gift is 100% appropriate. Firstly, when it is when yours or your co-worker's birthday, when a member of the organization is retiring or has resigned, or when someone's years of service within an organization is being celebrated. Explain the importance of honesty in business dealings. Honesty in business dealings cannot be stressed enough. You should never tell a client that you can deliver on something when you know you can't. It will obviously reflect badly at the end of the day. If a client finds out that you or someone in the organization has lied, they will not be happy and might take their business somewhere else. So be careful of this. Identify deliverables and own work situations. It is of utmost importance to be consistent with your work. You should try to work on the same reasonable pace so you are a productive worker, and when the pressure is on a bit, you need to put a little bit extra so that you can deliver on time. Your superiors will be happy with your work if you always do your best to hand in your work on time, always arrive on time, don't stay away from work unless you are really ill or have a real emergency and are dependable. Given an indication of the importance of productivity, accountability, attendance, and delivery of work on time. You need to know that you are accountable for your word. It's a good principle to live by. To do what you say you will. Leading a business takes all your effort. You will need to put as many work hours into your business as possible. You are part of a chain of work, and everyone's input is needed to get the service or goods delivered. Please complete class activity 7 in your workbooks. Dealing with situations where own values and ethics conflict with work practice. The organization should be fair and honest with suppliers, distributors, business partners, and agents. Fair business practices promote and monitor the social responsibility of all stakeholders, such as suppliers, distributors, employees, business partners, as well as agents. Demonstrating methods of dealing with unethical behavior. There are specific processes to follow when the code of ethics are breached in an organization. Each organization or business strives to implement different codes of ethics to suit their organizational needs. The following steps is followed in a serious offences, for example, discrimination, fraud, bribery, and theft. The methods of dealing with unethical behaviour: harassment. The organization should have a policy against any form of harassment in such forms as sexism, racism, or bullying of others. Discrimination. Organizations should prevent anyone from discriminating against employees of the organization. Company's own values and beliefs to company practice. The organization should be fair and honest with suppliers, distributors, business partners, and agents. Fair business practices promote and monitor the social responsibility of all stakeholders, such as suppliers, distributors, employees, business partners, and agents. An organization will implement ethical standards in dealing with all the organization's stakeholders. Give an indication of how an employee can deal with a situation where there is conflict of an ethical nature. Among many ways of dealing with unethical business conduct includes, is not limited to the following: drawing up a code of conduct as a guiding and ethical framework, taking decisive actions against the perpetrators like formal disciplinary hearings at minimum and dismissals when warranted, ongoing training to staff, establishing whistleblowing measures, internal audit, putting clauses in employment contracts that clearly and explicitly denotes zero tolerance to ethical business practice lapses. Demonstrating ways of professionalism with instances where the employees' rights are undermined. Professionalism in the workplace and applicable ethics and values should always be upheld. However, that being said, there are instances where employees in the workplace are undermined. You should be able to detect such instances and also deal with it immediately. Undermining employees' rights includes, but is not limited to, sexual harassment, which includes sexy remarks, touching, to mention only two of such possible instances. Improper working hours, for example, are 14-hour shifts. Unsafe work environment, for example, no fire extinguishers or no protective clothing. Please refer to other examples on pages 122 and 123 in your learner guide. Please complete class activity 8 in your workbook, and please complete your portfolio of evidence. Thank you.